All right, so six-figure secrets. The last talk that we had, I gave you guys five secrets, and the five secrets, I'll go over them really quick. The first secret that we went over is that financial success is possible in almost any field. Even if you have a lack of education, it doesn't have to hold you back. That was the first secret. The second secret from Wednesday was working hard doesn't mean working all the time. And then we have the third secret, which was focus on fulfilling your values rather than your financial gain. The fourth one was loving what you do is much more important than what you do. And the fifth secret from Wednesday was feel the fear, have doubt, and go for it anyway. So today I'm going to be giving you guys three more secrets. So in that first chapter, she gave a total of 8 secrets, and this book is already so good. There's going to be so many secrets that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. And we're just going to dive right into it. So I finished off this chapter this morning, and I've read like 5 of the chapters, and I'm rereading it now just to make sure I like pour into you guys with the highest amount of value that I can pour into all of you. And she ended this chapter with how like a balance beam. That was the name of it. It was she talked about balancing things. And how many of you feel like you have trouble balancing your work life, your family life, and your social life? I know I feel like I have trouble doing it all the time. And I have this saying, I don't try to find balance, I find harmony, right? Because what I've learned, especially in this book, is that there is no balance. And I'm going to kick it off with a secret. We're giving you a secret right off the bat. And the secret to striking a balance in the modern day work world is that you need to think in terms of trade-offs, not sacrifices. So I know I told you guys something that was really important that I've done in my career is sacrificing things. But when I look back at it, I never looked at it as a sacrifice. I looked at it as a trade-off. I looked at it as an investment. The things that I was giving up in the moment helped me invest in my future. So I would trade things off, like, let's say a night out that had nothing to do with networking, nothing to do with my business, just a normal girls' night out. I would trade that off, and I would think of like, if I don't do this now, or if I don't go to this outing and I work on my business instead, I'm going to be able to fly all my girls on a private jet to go to the Bahamas one day. So I traded off for a better future, if that makes sense. So think in terms of trade-offs, not sacrifices, to find a workable equilibrium. That is the first secret. And in this book, I'm telling you guys interviews that the authors had with high earners. And after 9 years of being a full-time mother, one of the ladies in this book, she went back to work. She was working part-time at a cable network, and she said she rarely gets to travel, and she'll leave work early to attend her kids' activities. And she doesn't see it as a sacrifice. She said sacrifices put us like in a bad mindset. It puts a bad spin on it, when in reality, it's a choice that we make. And a battle for balance to not get over invested in work, but still doing what it takes to advance. And, it's an ongoing thing that successful earners are always going back and forth with. So if you guys are in a position where you feel like you're trying to balance everything and you have a lot on your plate, that means you're on your way to becoming a high successful earner. If you feel like that, then you are doing what you need to be doing. You're doing what all high successful earners are doing. But if you find yourself in a place where you're like, okay, I'm not juggling too much, I'm relaxed, I'm comfortable, that's not how high successful earners feel. Okay, high successful earners, they're always juggling a bunch of different things because they want to put things on their plate and they see it as a trade-off and an investment for their future. And no one promised us a rose garden, right? We don't come into entrepreneurship thinking that it's going to be a rose garden. It's going to be easy. I've never met one successful person that said, yep, I started my business. Everything went great. Everyone just started buying my products. Everyone just started to want to do business with me. And I've never experienced any bump in the road. It was a piece of cake. I love this. I've never heard that before. And if you guys have, send them my way. Please, I need to learn from them. But no one promised a rose garden. And the higher a woman climbs, the more problems are going to come. Different levels, different devils, right? And the higher a woman climbs, the more problems seem to come. And for network marketing, like I'm in network marketing, I'm in direct sales, and I'm grateful that this is a space where, you know, majority of us are women, right? I know there's some guys here, and I'm so grateful for them. And I learned from a lot of successful men in direct sales, but this is a woman-dominated space, which is why I love it so much. And it's an empowering community for women. But outside of our field, like most of the women that are, a lot of the women that are interviewed in this book, they're in the corporate world, or they're like in business with a lot of other high successful men. And outside of our field, a lot of women, they're discriminated. And even in my business, like I've felt like an underdog a lot of the time. My whole entire life, I've been undervalued and overlooked. Like people don't realize the value that I have to offer. And I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I've felt like that a lot in my life. And coming in here and being introduced to personal development and working on my mindset growth has been a big difference maker. So a lot of women in our field, they're discriminated. They get compared to men, especially like anyone that's a minority or a first generation American. It's hard to become successful. And we have to work twice as hard to be paid the same as men that are in the same field or have the same position as we do. And a lot of the women were sharing their experience of working with men and, you know, being compared to them. And one of the women that were interviewed in this book, she said that she was left behind on a corporate jet. So they were getting ready to go fly somewhere. She was the only woman on a part of this group. She had her belongings on the plane. She had her purse on the plane, and they took off and left and forgot that she was there. Some of them would describe they would be described as kind of a CEO. And one of the CPAs in this book that was interviewed, she said, you know what strikes me as really funny? After all of these years, I have never received a referral from an attorney where the client wasn't a woman. Like they only refer women to her. And she said, excuse me, she said 90% of my clients are men, but somehow lawyers don't think of me as qualified. They refer the men to her partner, Mark. So she gets referred women all of the time, even though most of her clients are men. Excuse me, I had my energy and now I'm like burping all over this call. But she said 90%, 90% of her clients are men. And another lawyer said the same thing. She said, if I internalized every time someone said something racist or sexist, I wouldn't be able to function. There's always some incident that will be jarring, but I recognize it's people's ignorance. My sense of humor is a shock absorber. So how many of you have felt unfair treatment in your business? Drop a 1 in the chat. Or how many of you have felt some type of struggle from the way you are treated in your business? All right, so I'm going to give you guys another secret. All right, the second secret that I'm going to give you guys today, and a key secret to dealing with unfair treatment without losing your temper footing or your perspective, and this is what a lot of the women in this book said, sometimes you just have to shrug it off and have a good laugh. And a lot of the time I'll see people dealing with, things that I've dealt with, or like even worse. And every time I go through something like that, where I feel like I'm being treated unfairly or judged, I just laugh it off. And I'm like, even more fuel to prove you wrong, even more fuel to show you how successful I'm going to be. And if you guys want to be successful, you have to realize that there are going to be a lot of ignorant people that you come across that don't see what you have to offer. And all you have to do is shrug it off, have a good laugh, and take that energy to go and put in more work. Because it's easier to lose your temper. It's easier to lose your footing. And then the way that you are going to feel when you do have a temper tantrum, when you do have like an argument, you're going to take away good energy that you could be putting into your business. It's going to switch up the way that you're working. And at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to lose if you lose your temper and you lose your footing. So that second secret is that sometimes you just have to shrug it off and have a good laugh. And one thing is for sure, there's plenty of stress in the six-figure income field, right? In the six-figure lanes, there's a lot of stress. And one thing I can promise you guys is that it's never going to be perfect. And that's something that all six-figure earners have realized and come to, terms with. We have to play we have to play multiple roles, from being a leader to being customer service to, running our own personal business. We have to play multiple roles. We have a challenging workload, and being a minority, having a minority status is no piece of cake for any successful high earner, for anyone out there that is a minority, right? But a frequently surprised theme that is noticed in this book is that six-figure women, they're a very happy bunch. Not a lot of them are upset. They're a very happy bunch from the results that they receive, even though they face all of this difficulty. Right. And I think because we face so much difficulty, that's why there's not that many of them, because not a lot of people can handle all these things. But if you can look at all of the things that, high earners deal with, when you come across them, you're going to know this is a trait that successful high earners have. This is something that successful people go through, and you're going to know you're going towards the right lane of dealing with all of it. And all of their conversations, they all consisted of words like gratitude, fortunate, blessed, and they're all joyful and appreciative women. In some of the conversations that they had, it says, I live in a posture of gratitude. I've lived in survival mode for so long, and now I have it all. I'm amazed at the kind of life I've been able to sculpt out of my crazy past. I'm the most fortunate woman I know. They're always counting their blessings. And, I started to ask myself, is money a source of happiness? And to some extent it is. Money, it's unquestionable that these successful women were able to afford their opportunities and their freedom and their well-being because of money. But then I'm quoting one of the interviews. She's a business owner said, it's not the money that I love, but I love what the money makes possible, the way it has changed my life. The more money I make, the more I've been able to help my family. I've made sure my younger sister had money for a good education, and I've made things much easier for my mother. And another businesswoman was interviewed, and after she described how humble her upbringing was. And I come from very humbling times. My family, they never owned a house, and my mom just bought her first house in her 50s. And shout out to my mom. She went and got that done, but she comes from the Philippines. The province that my mom comes from, we had to heat up water on the stove if we wanted a hot bath. When I went to go and visit the Philippines, I've been like 5 times, and all before I was 15. But like as a child going to the Philippines, like you see people asking for money on the side of the road, and it's like it's so much different than how homeless people are living here. Like they will knock on your door and try to open the car door to ask you for money. And just seeing that, like you had to heat up water to have a hot bath, and seeing my mom being able to buy a house, it was a beautiful thing to watch. But growing up, like I lived in the back of someone's house. It was like a duplex. It was attached to someone's house, and the shower was outside. And we rented houses all of our life. And I come from very humble upbringings. And I think when you do come from such a humble upbringing, you're even more hungry to make it happen. Like you're starving, right? So this businesswoman, she was talking about how humble her upbringing was and how deeply wonderful her life is now. And then she said, after we finish this interview, I think I'm going to drive up to Napa, check into a good hotel, have a nice dinner. I have the financial freedom to do that. And when I look at where I came from, I feel so blessed. And this doesn't mean that successful earners don't get down in the dumps. It doesn't mean that they don't have attacks of negativity. They do. And, sometimes the author would call some of these women that she was interviewing in the middle of a really bad spell. Okay. And it's funny because the one that she was describing, she said she called this woman and she was sobbing throughout her interview. And the woman that was sobbing was in direct sales. She was a direct sales specialist. So she's in the field that I'm in. And I know most of you are in as well. And she called her back 3 months later to see how she was feeling. And she laughed when she heard the author's voice. And she told her, you called me on the worst day that I've ever had in the last 20 years. And, she just shrugged it off and she laughed about it. And she bounced back. And successful earners, they refuse to stay a victim. They refuse to stay down in the dumps for a long time. Like maybe they'll give themselves 24 hours. They'll have a good cry, but they refuse to stay a victim. They refuse to stay down in the dumps for a long time. And they work very intently to find the place where they can be happy again. They don't just sit and wallow in that feeling. They feel their feelings. They have those negative attacks, but they work really intently on getting back to the place to be happy again. So I'm going to give you guys a third secret. Drop a 3 if you are ready for the third secret. All right. So the third secret is that all of these successful high earners, they appreciate abundance. Someone type abundance in the chat for me. Can we highlight that word, abundance? Very important. Yes, abundance. So an abundance mindset means looking at life as full of possibilities and embracing the opportunities rather than focusing on what might be wrong. Right? How many of us are guilty of only focusing on what is wrong in the moment? I get on some coaching calls and it's like, I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing that wrong. I'm doing this wrong. And I want you guys to set goals for yourself based off of possibilities, not the current result that you have. Base your goals off of possibilities, not the current result that you currently have. Because if you keep basing your goals off of your current result, you're going to keep manifesting your past into your future. So base your goals off of the possibilities. And if you guys look around the world, there are a lot of possibilities here. Right? Look at how far the Kardashians have come. They were not where they are right now 10 years ago. All right. Now Kim Kardashian's getting what, fashion icon of the year? Base your goals off of possibilities, not your current results, and appreciate abundance. Abundance thinking, it also embraces the perspective that growth is necessary and that you need to take risks. You need to expand your comfort zone, right? We get so stuck in our comfort zone when we know that when we take risks, we know that when we get uncomfortable, we're one step closer to achieving our goals. And achieving your life goals, it requires you to take chances and try new things. And people with this mindset, they are so much more likely to embrace these opportunities. And I want to show you guys a video that really it puts an emphasis on not just being abundant, but teaching abundance as well. And that's why I really wanted to put an emphasis on abundance today. Drop 100 in the chat if you have a kid. Okay, so for all of my parents on here and for anyone that wants to have a kid, I want you guys to think of this lesson that I'm about to show you. And I want you guys to teach this to your kid. Maybe you have a younger sibling. Maybe you have a younger niece. I want you guys to teach this to your children. Teach this to the younger children in your life. I gotta show the screen to Instagram too. And I want you to also keep this in mind for yourself. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen here. How many of you know Grant Cardone? One of my favorite mentors. Can you guys see my screen? How do I switch maybe I'm just gonna have to do this. Okay. Okay. And maybe you guys have already seen this. This was a pretty viral video. I hope you guys can hear it because you weren't able to hear. So if you can't hear it, let me know.
Okay, this morning I'll be teaching my daughter a little lesson as I feed her. This is just to establish for you folks out there that know me and maybe wonder, wow, man, I wonder if Grant spends time with his kid, and actually, transfers skills. Well, one of the skills that we're going to transfer this morning is that there's abundance, okay? Now, we could feed her one at a time, or we could give her many to play with, okay? I would like to teach her that there's plenty to go around. See, look at that. Now that is the way to eat a breakfast. Pound it in, baby, pound it in, okay? Handfuls, there's plenty of everything. Ideas, plenty of land, plenty of money, plenty of food, plenty of oil. Ooh, plenty of everything. There's no shortages. You can have anything and everything you want. Dig in. Yeah. That's right. Anything you want to say? That's right. There's plenty.
All right. So let's look at where this little girl is 10 years later.
My name is Sabrina Cardone, and I'm 10 years old. No one is better suited than a 10-year-old to talk to you about 10X. And let's face it, I'm the only 10-year-old here. Pause for just a second. I want you to remember when you were 10. Look inside your mind's eye and remember when you were 10 years old. Think about it and be 10 again. You're about this tall, or maybe this tall and kind of short, or maybe even shorter than me. But remember how much energy you had. Remember how happy you were. Remember how positive and hopeful you were. Like I said before, I'm 10. And look, I'm ready to grow up and not be treated like a little kid. Because, people don't listen to you. They talk about you, not to you. I was in a mall, and someone told my dad I was beautiful. We had an entire conversation that went on for like 5 minutes. I mean, thanks for thinking I'm pretty. You could have told me. At 10, you're stuck. You're not really a kid, and you're not really an adult, and you're very clearly not a teenager. But seriously, I can't wait to work. I can't wait to really work, to have a job, to have responsibility, to be treated like an adult. Look, I'm happy when I work. Aren't you? I'm happiest when I'm busy. And I'm most fulfilled when I'm contributing. Yeah. I love moving home. Sleeping in. I love my computer, my phone. Mom took my phone from me though. It was like taking me off life support. But and I'm sure you do. Doing nothing all day in front of a screen. Yep, I don't have one up here because I don't have my phone anymore, Mom. It doesn't make you feel good just looking at it all day. Unless you're doing something on it. But if you're just looking at it, it's useless. So, do you guys agree? Say 10x if you agree. This year, let's agree. Like we just did a few seconds ago. To work more, not less. To learn more, not less. To experience more, not less. That's what 10x is about. Okay, on your feet, guys. Come on. So repeat after me. I am gonna work more.
I'm gonna work more.
I'm gonna do more.
I'm gonna do more.
I am gonna learn more.
I'm gonna learn more. Wow. Okay. I think Sabrina, this 10-year-old just gave you guys a lot more advice than I can give you, but we're all going to learn more. We're all going to do more, and we're all going to believe that there's enough success to go around. If someone signed up that business partner that you wanted, there's another business partner for you to sign up. If someone got that VIP that you were talking to, there's another VIP for you to sign up. There's enough market partners, there's enough VIPs, there's enough money to go around. And I want you guys to remember that coming from a mindset of abundance is one of the key secrets that successful people really focus on, is abundance. There's always more. There's always more to go around. And when you look at where Sabrina ended up after being taught abundance. And Grant Cardone has so many great trainings on YouTube that you guys can watch. And those are the 3 secrets that I have for you guys today. I'm going to go over the 8 secrets that we went over on Wednesday and today. Secret number 1 again. Financial success is possible in almost any field, and a lack of education doesn't have to hold you back. Number 2, working hard doesn't mean working all the time. Number 3, focus on fulfilling your values rather than financial gain. Number 4, loving what you do is much more important than what you do. Secret number 5, feel the fear, have the doubts, go for it anyway. Secret number 6, think in terms of trade-offs, not sacrifices, to find a workable equilibrium. Excuse me. Secret number 7, sometimes you just have to shrug it off and have a good laugh. And secret number 8, appreciate abundance. And if you take these secrets and do them separately, they're not going to put more zeros on your paycheck. It's a combination of all of these secrets put together with the appropriate strategies that will become the formula for your financial and personal success. And before we find out how this formula works, on Monday, we are going to be talking about the women on the other side of the fence, the under earners. They also have something important to teach us. So on Monday's call, I am going to be talking about the secrets of under earners and the traits that under earners have, and it will hopefully give you guys an alert of when and if you ever feel that way, to know that you are not on the track of going towards the six-figure field. So next call, we're going to be talking about under earners. I am so grateful for all of you. I am so grateful to share this space with all of you, and I can't wait to see where this journey takes all of us in the next couple months, in the next few years. I love growing with all of you, and I pray that you see a vision that you haven't seen for yourself before. The plans that God has for you are a lot bigger than we can see for ourselves, which is why we tend to doubt ourselves when we have these big ideas for ourselves. But I'm telling you, the ideas that you have are God's way of talking to you, and I pray that you guys have seen a vision for yourself that you haven't seen yet. I hope you see it for yourself on this call, and I will talk to you guys on Monday at 9 a.m. You can watch the replay on my YouTube at Kat from Kauai, and you can listen to this recording on my podcast, Life with Kat, in case the secrets were, I went too fast. You guys can go replay and pause and play and pause and play and take all of the notes that you need. I love you guys, and I will see you later.